Part 153. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1524. From that day on, Pierce worked extremely hard. You know, in 3 days, he will have to fight the captain of the night patrol, who in his mind is almost a representative of the top masters. For him, this kind of thing was a thrill that he had never tried in his life. Originally he didn't believe that he could do such a thing, but after seeing Jia Yan, he suddenly gained confidence again for some reason. Especially to him, Jia Yan is like a strong man who doesn't look huge but is actually full of grace. This feeling is very mysterious. Even though Jia Yan's strength is still not that strong in his current opinion, in his mind, he already regards Jia Yan as a great master who will become very powerful if given a chance in the future. There is no reason for this feeling. After all, Jia Yan's current strength is really too weak. Even in the eyes of their father and son, Jia Yan's strength is visibly improving day by day. But compared with their giant clan, he is still weak. There are too many gaps. Even because of their initial status, their father and son became stronger faster than Jia Yan, because they just started with no foundation. No, our master is able to study the existence of yin and yang Dao. If I doubt him, wouldn't I doubt the majesty of the master? Pierce, who had thought a lot, felt that he couldn't think too much about Jia Yan's strength. In short, Jia Yan taught him that for most people in this world, respecting teachers and teachings is a must. Jia Yan, on the other hand, has been taught day by day to make the Pierces and his son rely more on and trust him. This time, Pierce was asked to challenge the night patrol captain. Jia Yan actually didn't know whether he could win, but what Jia Yan wanted was not victory, but that the giant would obey him even more. But what he said was not wrong, that is, the father of the giant race will definitely gain the ability to get started with brainwave power in the next few days. Of course this requires some effort. It can be seen that Pierce is still working hard. This person has experienced much more than the child, and he knows how to cherish such a rare opportunity. So as Jia Yan expected, on the 3rd day, which was the day of the challenge on the 2nd day, Pierce finally realized the brainwave power by himself. Oh, my God, I know. The so-called brainwave power actually feels like this. My God, Master, this feels so good. Pierce almost roared. He has never felt so good. As an ordinary member of the giant clan, he has never been exposed to any advanced power, nor has he experienced what it would be like to be a junior-level powerhouse. But now he felt that although he had never heard of the brainwave power taught by his master, this feeling of breakthrough seemed to make his limbs and bones feel extremely comfortable, as if people's senses had become sharper. Only then did he realize that the so-called brainwave power was like this. Try it and see if you can direct your brainwave power to spread out. Jia Yan said to him. Let me try. Pierce agreed, and then followed Jia Yan's words to guide the newly emerged power and release it. But after trying for a while, he reluctantly gave up. No, Master, my brainwave power is simply not enough. Well, it seems that the giant family does not have the talent and power to brainwave power beyond my imagination. Of course, with your size, it is estimated that even if it cannot be released outside, this brainwave power will have no impact on you. It will definitely help a lot. Now I'll teach you some more combat skills inspired by the power of brain waves. You can challenge the captain tomorrow. This. Pierce hesitated and seemed a little reluctant. But after seeing the gaze of the tiny creature in front of him, he instantly felt a trace of fear. Yes, Master, I will challenge him tomorrow. His respectful attitude was very satisfying to Jia Yan. This means that the most powerful force, and the one most likely to rebel, will be in his own hands. Today, Jia Yan did not teach his first giant disciple, the Shuanghao. Because tomorrow is the day when his father, who is also his junior brother, Pierce, will fight. So Xuanghao didn't have any complaints, and even thought that the master should teach his father more moves. In this family, Jia Yan is already the undisputed most powerful person. Although he usually lives near the house, the treatment he enjoys these days is absolutely excellent. Although it was scraps, he got a lot of food from this giant family. You must know that the food of the giants generally contains a large amount of energy, otherwise it will definitely not be able to help build enough energy for such a huge body of the giants. So Jia Yan and a group of insect-like subordinates all enjoyed it. Lord Jia Yan, tomorrow is the day for the challenge between Lord Piers and the night patrol captain of their giant clan. Do you think he can really defeat the captain? At this end, Jia Yan's group of subordinates did not have the same trust in Jia Yan as the two father and son. Huh? Do you doubt that it won't work? Jia Yan smiled silently and asked this group of creatures. I don't dare. It's just that the master has just taught an ordinary man of the giant clan and wants to deal with a giant clan who has reached the first level. We really can't see what the chance of winning is. A group of insect-like creatures, led by the beetle creature, quickly knelt down and worshipped. You know, Jia Yan is an insect creature who conquered a family of giants. Let's not mention his fighting power, just the fighting power of this family. If he slaps them, all of them will be killed, so Jia Yan is among them. The status in my mind is no longer what I thought about for a long time when I took refuge. Even the alliance of controllers seemed to really want to come here to cause trouble in the past 2 days. However, after capturing a creature in the field and asking Jia Yan about it, he actually subdued a family of giants. The big creatures that wanted to cause trouble quickly ran back in fright. Are you kidding? That's a family of giants. Although there are some powerful beings in the alliance of controllers who can kill even ordinary giants without any hesitation, but if they dare to kill the giants in the city, it means starting a war with the giants. How dare the alliance of controllers dare to kill them? They don't dare, even if they have friction with this family, because this is a family, and if the giant family is not on their side, they will definitely judge that the alliance of controllers is bullying them. Don't think that there are existences in the alliance of controllers that are beyond ordinary Dao level beings. Not even the giants can control them. In fact, there are existences in the alliance of controllers that are above Dao level beings. They are powerful, but it depends on who they are compared with. Compared with the giants, which have great racial advantages. Their existence beyond the Dao level is probably on par with a more powerful Dao level giant clan. In this city, although there are not many giants who have entered the Tao, there are still a lot of them. If one is sent out at random, he might be able to destroy the entire alliance of controllers. Therefore, how can this alliance dare to conflict with the giants? In other words, with the help of this giant family, Jia Yan has a gold medal to avoid death. Okay, are you worried that my apprentice will be injured or killed if he challenges others? Haha, don't worry, as long as Pierce is not too nervous, I think he can maintain an undefeated situation even if he cannot win. It should be pretty simple. Jia Yan saw a group of subordinates who wanted to say something, so he waved helplessly. No need to say more, everything depends on tomorrow. Jia Yan knew about this group of creatures and was worried that Pierce was not really worried about his safety, but that they and Jia Yan even had a temporary safe place in the city. It was because of this family that if the head of the family, if something goes wrong, their stable place of residence will be gone. Whether he will go into exile or be captured by the alliance of controllers is something no one can guarantee. But they did overthink it. At least Jia Yan was looking forward to the giant disciple he had taught himself. Then let me wait and see where you giants will reach after learning my yin and yang Dao skills. Jia Yan looked out the window calmly. Outside, it was already a grey night. That night, the lights were on all night in Pierce's house. Who is the husband and wife? They are both looking forward to and fearing tomorrow. Because as ordinary giants, they know that no matter whether they win or lose tomorrow, their lives will probably change drastically. The change is certain, because Pierce has shown the ability to fight with the Night Watch captain. Even an ordinary confrontation can definitely make this family have a good life. Even if they lose, as long as there is a certain amazing performance, can definitely make their family live a better life from now on. So they look forward to it. What's unsettling is that although Pierce knows that he has become stronger, he still doesn't know to what extent his strength has reached. He even doubts whether he has cultivated a fake Tao. Under such circumstances, he didn't know whether he should be embarrassed or show off himself. It is appropriate to be anxious. But even if it was stressful, the night passed very quickly, and the night passed quickly. Morning comes. In the morning of this world, there are not so many birds. Especially the giants can hardly see so-called birds, because in their eyes, all other creatures are almost tiny bugs. Even birds are nothing. They're just bugs. But Jia Yan and the others were different. They saw several small bird-like creatures several kilometers in size, chirping for a long time in the early morning. Okay, it's morning. Under the gaze of a group of creatures, Jia Yan stood up. I wish you success in your first battle, sir. Yes, I wish you success in your first battle. Each insect creature said respectfully to Jia Yan. Haha, you have made a mistake again. This is my disciple's battle. It has nothing to do with me. Jia Yan said this calmly. After greeting these subordinates, Jia Yan went to the outside world. In the yard, Pierce, who had not slept all night, was already boxing. What he was doing was the boxing style taught to him by Jia Yan. Although I only practiced temporarily for one day, after playing hundreds of times, I actually have a good shape. I've met Master. I saw something flying in front of my eyes. If I took a closer look, wasn't it the extremely tiny Jia Yan? Pierce quickly gave him a respectful fist. Without any hesitation, Jia Yan flew onto Pierce's shoulder. Let's go. Yes. Although Pierce's heart was tense, he still nodded respectfully. Behind the house, Pierce's wife and the couple were watching silently. This tall man has always been the center of their family. Although he has recently become unable to find a job and even owes a debt, he is responsible enough. What's even more gratifying is that now this man actually works with his son to become a good master, which has caused their fighting power to increase by leaps and bounds, reaching a level that the wife can't even understand. Degree. You know, it's only been a few days. Dad will definitely win today, Mom, don't worry. Okay, I know. The wife looked calmly at her husband's leaving figure, as if she could see how she felt when she met this tall man many years ago. He was equally domineering at that time. Jia Yan sat on his huge apprentice figure. Compared with his good shoulders, the shoulders of this standard giant adult man are even broader. Jia Yan even felt that the big house he lived in now would be more than enough if it were moved to his shoulders. Over there. Knowing that Jia Yan didn't know much about this giant city, Pierce pointed in a direction and spoke lightly to Jia Yan on his shoulder. Jia Yan responded. Pierce walked with Jia Yan all the way. His momentum gradually improved under Jia Yan's guidance. This captain is a person who has just entered the first level, but his strength is definitely the strongest among the night patrol team. The last time I went there, he just asked me if the first level existed. I might make him laugh. You ridiculed my disciple, and today is the day he comes back from being ridiculed by you. Jia Yan sneered. Pierce's heart warmed. Although this master may not be too strong, he is still protective of his apprentice. The two of them continued walking, and the people around them, perhaps sensing a hint of arrogance from Pilz, did not dare to approach him. Arrive. After suddenly walking 3 streets, Pierce pointed to a tall courtyard wall. Actually, this is just a night patrol team on our street, so it's very close. I originally signed up here because I had been watching this place for a long time and could take care of my family. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1525. In the place mentioned by Pirzi, there is a tall courtyard wall. At the gate of this courtyard wall, there is a man of the giant family dressed in official uniform, standing there like a door god. Okay, just go ahead. I will be in your clothes. If there is any danger, I will use brainwave power to communicate with you and help you explode the most powerful brainwave power. But if you are not in a dangerous situation, I won't do anything, everything still depends on your own strength. Jia Yan said lightly, and then shrank into Pilz's collar. Yes, master. Pierce nodded with a more serious expression. Then he saw that Jia Yan stopped talking, so he turned cold. Go towards the giant man on duty guarding the door. Stop, hey, I remember you. You failed to apply for the job a few days ago. What are you doing here again? Challenge. Under the astonished gaze of the gatekeeper, this person who had been here a few days ago and was not an ordinary beginner actually dared to say the words he wanted to challenge. Who do you want to challenge? Is your head okay? This creature, based on Pierce's words, suspected that he had a brain problem. To the giants, although a creature was very strong, there was still a certain possibility that he would have a brain problem. Haha, of course there is nothing wrong with my head. What I want to challenge is your captain. Pierce has already risked his life. In short, he feels that he is fulfilling the mission of his master now. With his master behind him, even if he loses, he will be embarrassed, and he does not want to disappoint his master for the time being. Pierce believed that what Jia Yan asked him to do now was to test him, or to conduct some research on their giant clan. After all, if Jia Yan wants to get first-hand information, the only person around him is his father and son, right? He must have some extraordinary research on the bodies of the giants, otherwise how could he create a plan that would allow father and son, with their ordinary physiques, to quickly increase their strength? You want to challenge the captain? Ha ha ha, boy, you forgot that you came here a few days ago and couldn't even pass our assessment. Now you actually want to challenge our captain. You must be really crazy. I just want to challenge your captain. I remember I saw it when I came here. Your night patrol team has a rule, that is, whoever challenges the captain can qualify as captain as long as he wins, right? Faced with Pierce's inquiry, the guard guarding the door didn't want to speak and just waved his hand. Go away, although there are rules, these rules are only for our own people, and you can't beat the captain. Don't you know the strength of our captain after you have been here for so many days? Even me, I guess I can't even win, and I'm still fighting the captain. The gatekeeper looked down on Pilza very much, because he knew from the last time that the man from the giant family who came seemed to be very tall. They were looking forward to it last time, but they really saw Pilza. After seeing his strength, he knew that this guy was absolutely useless. You said you can beat me? Okay, then I'll fight first. Pierce's face darkened. In fact, he has long known the challenge rules of this night patrol team. If he wants to challenge the captain of the night patrol team, he must make the other party angry. Of course, he cannot make him too angry, because that will make him beaten by the other party. Holding a grudge might cost him his life. You want to fight me? Okay, anyway, you are still applying for our team time. This can be regarded as a part of the test. It's just that fists and feet have no eyes. Don't wait until you get injured and just look for some high-level theory. You challenged us yourself. It just so happened that the man guarding the gate was about to change his shift. Seeing that Pirzi seemed to be aggressive, how could he endure it as a being who had reached the level of the first level of ability? So he agreed. A successor came, and this man took over with a smile, without even saying what the outsider wanted to do. Then the two of them went to the night patrol team's martial arts field. Okay, you can choose a weapon. After all, it doesn't look like you have a weapon. After thinking about it for a while, the man felt speechless because Pierce didn't even bring a weapon. He felt that the other party couldn't even afford a weapon. No need, I'll just use a pair of fists, enough to knock you out, Pierce said lazily. He wants to be the captain of the team. Although he doesn't know his own strength, when he meets such an ordinary player, the psychological pressure will be less for him. Humph, you actually dare to look down on me, so I won't use weapons and just send you away quickly. Hey, what are you doing over there? Why did this guy call an outsider in? It's strange. He seems to want to act with this outsider. Haha, I recognize him. Isn't this the person who wanted to come over and join our night patrol a few days ago? He actually wants to come and challenge us. This is so funny. He can't even join our team, but he still wants to challenge us. Us. Well, I recognized him too. This guy is really brave. One by one, the members of the night patrol saw what was going on here, especially a few with good eyesight. They saw that Pierce had been coming to their night patrol for a while and wanted to enter. A member of the night watch. What they were speechless about was that this guy looked like he was here to challenge. They were speechless. If they had known that he had the ability to challenge an ordinary night patrol member last time, they would definitely have wanted this man. Just because he didn't have this ability, he was turned away. Let's start. The man guarding the gate over there saw his colleagues gathered around him, and a bright light flashed on his face. In front of his colleagues, he wanted to show off and beat out the outsider who came to cause trouble. Start. Pierce finally showed a look of solemnity. Both of them started working together. The man guarding the gate used his fist and hit Piltz hard on the head. The fighting talent of the giant family is no joke. Even ordinary women like Piltz's wife can understand some basic fighting abilities. Other male giants are even more proficient in such things. The fighting ability in Pierce's hand is also relatively easy to teach Jia Yan. Especially this guy has a relatively good ambition, so the boxing skills he learned today have been better integrated into him. In my own heart. So when the gatekeeper punched him, Pierce also punched him back. The appearance of this punch made everyone present tense up. What, there is such a powerful punch. Wasn't he kicked out by us last time? Why does he have such fighting ability? If he is still kicked out with such fighting ability, wouldn't we be unable to enter this night patrol team? This is simply unreasonable. At this moment, the men of the giant clan were shocked by the punch delivered by Pierce. After all, what Jia Yan taught him was a boxing style that was extremely suitable for humans. Pierce already knew certain fighting routines, so he had learned a lot in the past 2 days. It feels like it looks presentable. Soon, the fists of both sides clashed. However, in this intertwining process, anyone can see at a glance that there is a huge gap between the gatekeeper and Pierce. Pierce should still have some strength left. As a disciple of Jia Yan, although he doesn't know whether he is strong enough to fight the captain, the gatekeeper in front of him is definitely not the captain. Level, he deliberately reserved a little strength. When he meets the captain in the future, he can use his strongest strength. At this time, it is best to reserve a little strength so that others cannot tell the truth. Hiss. A group of men from the giant clan, at this moment, felt Pierce's fighting ability. That punch was like lightning, breaking through the gatekeeper's fist in an instant, and then before the opponent's fist could fall on them. Before it hit him, it had already attacked his body. Puff. With one punch, the gatekeeper suddenly spurted out a mouthful of blood. It's amazing. This punch is at least as strong as half of the captain's. That guy's strength is not the weakest among our night patrol team. He can't even defend against a punch. The spectators on one side were all extremely surprised at the fighting ability displayed by Pierce at this moment. But Pierce himself was the most surprised. You know, before he encountered a fellow giant with such strength, he would definitely have had no choice but to run for his life. But now he was knocked down with just one punch. Old teacher, I won. At this moment, Pierce didn't show any excitement or happiness at the first moment. He only felt a certain excitement when talking quietly to Jia Yan. I know, but don't be happy. Winning against such a giant doesn't prove anything. Your goal is to be the captain of the night patrol. I remembered. After hearing Jia Yan's words, Pierce didn't have any resistance at this moment. Able to defeat an opponent. His emotions have completely turned towards Jia Yan, thinking that his master will definitely not lie to him. Okay, now who is going to invite your captain? I want to challenge him. I seem to have heard before that our new people who are going to join the night patrol are qualified to challenge the captain, right? Yes, you new recruits are qualified to challenge the captain, but a few days have passed since your time, and this qualification is no longer valid. A man with a gloomy face stood up and said to Piltz. Oh, it turns out to be the vice captain. Pierce recognized the man when he saw him. Jia Yan, who was under Pierce's clothes, also knew this man, because it was he and the so-called captain who came to the door of Pierce's house that day and looked at their family. Well, why don't you, the vice captain, have a fight with me? If I beat you, I will challenge the captain again. Pierce actually said something big. These words made every member of the night patrol present feel filled with indignation. You must know that each of these team members have worked together for a long time, and based on their work, they must have a very good relationship, even closer than brothers. So when they heard that the vice captain was so humiliated by an outsider, they couldn't sit still. Humph, don't you, an outsider, want to fight? Come on, I'll fight you. No, wherever you need Brother Ice King, I will just come and kill him casually. It seems that after he defeated that man, he thought that his strength was invincible even in our night patrol team. Ha, I don't know who gave you the confidence, but we are not such a simple team, boy, come and play with me just one game. Each member of the night patrol was fighting with Pierce at this moment. But Pierce wasn't even remotely interested in them. How about it, Vice Captain, if you don't dare, just let the captain come out. I don't have time to play with you slowly. At this moment, Pierce suddenly felt like a master. The feeling of giving advice was very satisfying. Find the bookstore. Well, the captain is not here today, so let me come and play with you. The vice captain looked strange at this moment, and then he went on stage directly. It would be great if it were like this earlier. Pierce sneered, and then he made another fist move. But what no one noticed was that on the side of the martial arts arena, a shrinking figure slowly appeared. A member of the night patrol spotted him from a distance. Just as he was about to speak, the man quickly stopped him from speaking. That's right, the character who just came out is the captain of the night patrol. He had received news before that someone wanted to challenge him. His expression changed just now. Because people who dare to challenge usually have a certain amount of urine. Especially if he kills an ordinary team member right away, even with just one move, then he will definitely be a good opponent. When he appeared just now, he heard Pierce's words challenging the vice captain. So he quietly asked someone to come over and ask the vice captain to agree to Pierce's request for combat first. He wanted to see Pierce's fighting ability first. Boy, I've just seen your strength. It's very strong. You must have been strong before. But I don't know why you refused to show your strength before. Otherwise, we would have agreed to your joining right away. Haha, what if I said that I was temporarily unable to show my strength due to some reasons? In fact, I came to challenge this time because I was not very satisfied with your attitude last time. Even if I am an ordinary person, I usually go it's necessary to go through the process, but you were surprisingly indifferent to me, and even taunted me in the end, making me unable to get off the stage and go home in despair. This is what you did wrong. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1526. Pierce's sneer at the vice-captain's words suddenly became even louder. Anyway, nothing is right. This is the attitude we have toward every examinee who comes. If you are unhappy, there is nothing we can do. Let you vent your unhappiness now, Jean. The vice-captain seemed to be decisive in killing them. Knowing that Pierce would not simply give up the fight with them, he was instantly ready to fight. It would be great if it were like this earlier. Pierce had almost become a strong man during this battle, and now he actually looked down on the vice-captain indifferently. Dare you look down on me? Haha. The vice-captain was more generous. Seeing that Pierce didn't use weapons, he didn't use weapons either. In fact, he didn't know that Pierce had never learned any weapons, and weapons were the giant killers. If the deputy captain didn't use weapons, he would have already lost half the battle. Of course, even Pierce wouldn't say it openly and foolishly. I am the deputy captain of the night patrol, so remember the person who defeated you. I am Piercy. You also remember the person who defeated you. The two sides were very angry. After just chatting for a few words, they were immediately ready to take action. This time, Jia Yan didn't dare to let Pierce be so arrogant, because through the previous battle, he understood how strong the beginner-level giants in this city were. Jia Yan must have been abused when he went up there, but as a person of high level, he could see that this junior Taoist from the giant race was really powerful. With one punch, even a galaxy-level man could be beaten. Existence, may all be killed. And this captain of the night patrol is more powerful than the previous one, so he might be about the same strength as Pierce. It's really not that easy for Pierce to win without using his own help. And just as his words came out, Pierce nodded secretly. Then he struck first. He punched the vice-captain with one punch. Ha, that's a good punch. The vice-captain couldn't help but express his sincere appreciation when he saw Pierce throw an extremely powerful punch, the wind of which almost overwhelmed his junior-level power. That's how the giants are. If they are great, they are great. If they are not great, they are not great. Just say it directly. As a clan of giants who have been considered the strongest race in this world most of the time, the way they maintain their strength is actually often due to their own internal pressure. Without internal competition and pressure, it would be difficult for the giant clan to encounter opponents. Then they would slowly degenerate, and maybe in the future they would revert to being a member of the top clan despite their huge size. Puff. Although he praised him, the vice-captain also used a punch. His punch was based on a strange fighting spirit, coupled with his beginner-level ability. The combat power produced by such use was impossible for Pierce to easily accept. However, he had already heard Jia Yan's words, and instead of using force, he directly used his own boxing skills to punch away. Anyway, his combat experience is not good, it is impossible to resolve any punches, so it is better to turn defense into attack. The fist paths of both sides are intertwined. Puff. Boom. A shocking sound erupted in the sky. Pierce only felt that his body was directly bombarded by a powerful fist. He couldn't help but use the so-called brainwave power taught by his master. He can't send out this brainwave power yet. But inside the body, he can already move around freely and can easily travel throughout the body. According to the master, such wandering, as long as it is placed on the body part he needs, is an extremely powerful defense, so this time he tried it. Click. When he was defending, the vice-captain's body was hit by his fist at the same time. The vice-captain's eyes were full of shock. Seeing that this foreign challenger was not afraid of his fist, he was knocked away by his punch. However, his fist also hit his body with injury, and he was extremely depressed when he was hit by Pierce's punch. What? Puff. The people present saw that these two strong men exchanged injuries for injuries in the first move. Pierce was sent flying a few steps, and then his face became ugly for a while, but after a few stomps, he steadied his figure. On the other end, the vice-captain, who in their eyes was only weaker than the captain, was completely unstoppable and retreated all the way, spurting out a mouthful of blood along the way. This. After a while, the vice-captain fell to the ground and struggled but could not stand up. Everyone around him was extremely shocked and looked at the challenger again. You know, just now they thought that their deputy captain could definitely defeat this existence. But now they know that their vice-captain simply cannot defeat others. It even ended with one punch. At this moment, the vice-captain was both angry and afraid of Pierce. At first glance, there was a hint of fear. Under such circumstances, although Pierce also felt that there was something wrong with his body, the feeling of truly becoming a strong man made him feel proud. Haha. You haven't seen enough. Let the captain behind you come in person. I came here this time to challenge him. You bastard, you actually want to challenge us? Do you really think our night patrol team is fake? Yes, no matter how powerful you are, it's just one person. If we go together, we can kill you. The members of the night patrol on the side were almost gnashing their teeth at Pierce, and wanted to go on stage together to defeat this outside troublemaker. No need to do anything, I'll do it. Just when they were filled with indignation and ready to join forces, a voice suddenly sounded. Huh? Team, Captain. At this moment, everyone turned around and saw a figure slowly walking out of the crowd behind them. This figure had also appeared outside Pierce's home a few days ago. At this moment, he actually appeared in the night patrol team, so he was probably the captain of the night patrol team. And this guess is correct. This is the captain of the night patrol. Heh, I asked you what happened today. Everyone has disappeared, and you actually came here to play with the challenger. The captain, seemingly normal, slowly walked out of the crowd. While looking at Piltz, he spoke calmly to the people around him. Affected by his emotions, the people around him also calmed down. Yes, this is our captain. Although the man in front of you is powerful, how can he be compared with our captain? Haha, if the captain takes action, he will definitely win. Captain, please injure this outsider, otherwise there will definitely be more guys like this. Every night patrol member has great trust in their captain. As for Pierce, who was on the field, his heart tightened when the captain appeared. I almost lost my mind. If Jia Yan hadn't been by his side and encouraged him secretly, perhaps Piltz's expression would have turned a bit ugly now. He took a deep breath. Jia Yan's words kept ringing in his ears. Haha, who am I talking about? Mr. Captain, have you had enough of hiding and watching? Now that you see that I have wasted a lot of energy and may be injured, do you dare to come out? With Jia Yan's help and reminder, Pierce said these words. Damn it, with our captain's strength, do we need to do this? This is simply unreasonable. Captain, please tell him that you just arrived. When the captain of the night patrol heard what Pierce said, his face instantly turned ugly. He also wanted to say that he actually just arrived. But let's put it this way, the group of night patrol members who were on the sidelines just now have actually been watching him standing aside for a long time. Saying it is almost equivalent to lying, and his majesty will be reduced. Humph, you kid, I didn't let you pass our night patrol assessment some time ago, and now you come to challenge me. Do you know that this is not very kind? The captain of the night patrol asked with a cold face. He didn't answer directly, but threw the question in another direction. Am I not kind? Haha, How did I hear that anyone can challenge the night patrol team? As a failed person who came for the assessment and I am not satisfied with my assessment results, I can definitely watch you night patrol in the name of challenge. Patrolling, is it a matter of having operational authority? If I win, you, the captain, will step down. In other words, you have already stepped down. Pierce even sneered. In fact, he was right. In the City of Giants, such a night patrol team is actually nothing. Moreover, because their energy is not small, it is easy to form a small benefit group, so if outsiders want to join, they may refuse. Then after people from the outside are rejected, they can challenge the people inside. If they win, it means that the captain's vision of people was not good at that time. In other words, the captain does not want to accept a new person and destroy the interests among them. This is what the captain has done now. Oh, you are right, but you did not show your current strength that day. Can I think that you are deliberately causing trouble for us? The captain of the night patrol was not a vegetarian either, so he quickly retorted at this moment. You must know that it is absolutely dangerous to refuse to accept such accusations from outsiders if you are convinced. So he quickly retorted. Pierce doesn't put much fight into his words either, because what he says is the truth. Well, anyway, I have come to challenge you. Now you have to deal with me personally. In this case, I don't care about what happened before. As long as you can defeat me, then I will leave immediately. If you can't defeat me, give up your position as captain of the night patrol to me. How about that? Ken. The conversation between the two ended, leaving a group of night patrol members in the audience stunned. It turns out that this guy came here because he wanted to be our captain. You bastard, you are actually aiming for the position of captain. No wonder when I first came here, I saw him seem to be more respectful, but now he is like this. His attitude back then was just an act. This is simply unreasonable. I feel like we have been deceived by this guy. One by one, the members of the night patrol felt deep hostility towards what Pierce said. Because what Pierce said almost made others feel that the process of the past few days was calculated. In fact, if Pierce knew what they were thinking, he would really smile helplessly. In the past few days, he didn't pretend to be anything. He was really extremely respectful. In this night patrol, he considered himself the weakest. He treated everyone with respect, and then even stuffed some small things into them. Some powerful people. It's a pity that even the members who took a small amount of money from him didn't do anything to help him. Instead, they ridiculed him and drove him away. How could he be angry if it wasn't for those things? Especially the captain in front of him, after secretly collecting a little money from him, he directly adjusted the difficulty of the test to almost the most difficult level. It is also known as goodwill towards newcomers. This was also an important reason why he hesitated for a long time before agreeing to Jia Yan's challenge. If he had the opportunity to fix this person who looked down on him and cheated him of his money, it would be a great pleasure for him. Haha, needless to say so much. Since you have only revealed your strength now, you must have planned it for a long time. In this case, it goes without saying what happened in the past. As long as you can really defeat me, I will admit defeat. This captain, what if I give my seat to you? The captain was a bachelor, and he directly said that he would give up his position as captain. Because he also understood that there would be no benefit to either party if he continued to be entangled with Pierce like this, because they were both guilty of foul play. Therefore, the best way is for everyone to assume that the other party has not committed any violation. This is the best way. As for Pierce, of course he wants this result. Good. Pierce smiled, and then he started to attack. He didn't dare to look down upon the captain in the slightest, and now he was completely moving his body according to Jia Yan's instructions. Fortunately, the giants are too strong and their bodies are too big. When fighting, Every punch and kick is extremely fast, but because the body is too big, Jia Yan's words say that Pilz can still there is time for revision. This is like a huge creature hundreds or thousands of kilometers away, fighting. Although in Jia Yan's opinion, their movements are very slow, but that is for the whole. If you only look at one fist, especially if you only look at one part of the fist, it is so fast that even Jia Yan will be stunned. Degree. Under such circumstances, Jia Yan was able to guide his battle. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1527. That's right, Pierce was cheating, and there was actually a person who was familiar with human body fighting methods. Downright, another kick. Well, Master didn't even teach me leggings. After hearing what Jia Yan said, Pierce's expression changed, but he didn't dare to show any slightness and kicked him directly. The previous punches and kicks from both sides were as shocking as shaking the earth. This kick made the captain and the surrounding onlookers feel surprised. Because in terms of fists, even if they couldn't understand the punches made by Pierce, they actually knew that the being who came to challenge definitely had a very powerful boxing technique. He must be very good at using weapons. Rather than letting him and the captain decide the outcome with weapons, it would be better to use fists and kicks. The chance of an accident happening to the captain is much smaller. This is what they think. At this moment, the captain's palm turned into a knife, and he faced Pierce's punch with the knife in one hand. His sword skill is not something he uses casually, because his weapon is a sword. In the sword technique, there is even an explanation of turning his palm into a sword, which is suitable for the situation at hand. The swords and fists of both sides collided. Boom! It was like a volcanic explosion erupting in the air. A shocking force spurted out from the space where the two sides intersected. If it were a tiny creature here, let alone causing such a situation, even if it was affected by this fluctuation, it might die directly. Jia Yan was almost affected by the explosion in the flurry of the fight between the two sides. Fortunately, Pierce's giant clothes had some defensive power. He hid a little inside the clothes and found them intact. Good power. Pierce has never learned how to neutralize other people's attacks. But he didn't need to learn, because the captain's hand knife found his fist to neutralize the attack. As for the captain on the other side, he noticed something was wrong at the first moment of the battle. This guy doesn't defend himself? Does he not understand, or does he not care about my attack at all? The first point is definitely impossible. The second point doesn't mean that he has even more powerful moves. The captain became even more timid. Bang bang bang. When Pierce launched an attack, he could only defend one move at a time. If he defended for a long time, he would lose. In an instant, the team members discovered that he was about to lose. Of course, this doesn't happen easily. Since the captain dared to appear at this time, he naturally appeared with a certain degree of certainty. Although Pierce seemed to have some backup, he still controlled the challenger's physical fitness and strength. His boxing skills are very powerful. At least in a state of complete victory, I am not sure that I can defeat him. But it is different now. There is a hint of fatigue in his fight. I am sure that even if he has other powerful boxing skills, it will be difficult for him. Use it out. The captain deliberately appeared after Pierce had fought so many battles. He must be sure before he dared to come. Otherwise, how could he dare? He had indeed calculated these disadvantages of Pierce, but he had not calculated that there was a master hidden in Pierce's body. Haha, Pierce, your strength is indeed good, but now, you are going to lose. In the middle of his defense, he suddenly yelled. Then, the sword in his hand suddenly changed into a sense of strength, which was obviously different from the previous resistance moves. He actually wanted to turn his back on defense. The members of the night patrol who were watching around were all in high spirits. They all knew that their captain was finally going to fight back. After all, if you defend for a long time, you will lose. Who can really defend for a long time? Now that he was finally on the offensive, they were relieved. Pierce, who was opposite him, had been attacking all the time. When his self-confidence was extremely exploded, he saw that the opponent in front of him didn't act according to his own routine for a moment, and his attacks suddenly missed. Huh! While he was hesitating, a sudden sound came from his ears. "Apprentice, use the spinning punch on me." Pierce heard that the voice was that of his cheap master, so he didn't dare to think too much and used this trick. This boxing move was one of the more difficult ones Jia Yan taught him. Fortunately, Pierce had some basic knowledge of boxing. After learning this move for a day, he was pretty good at it. In this punch, Jia Yan directly helped him enhance his sense of brainwave power. What kind of power is this? At this moment, Pilz felt for the first time that the so-called brainwave power in his body was spewing out like an exploding volcano. At this moment, his combat power suddenly exploded like a volcano. Different from the last time when Jia Yan helped Xiao Shuang, Pierce was an adult giant. At this time, he used his potential and actually drained most of Jia Yan's brainwave power in an instant. In one move, Jia Yan almost lost his strength. Fortunately, this effect is absolutely magical. The captain of the night patrol who was behind suddenly used all his strength, trying to make a sneak attack, and killed Pierce with one move. At this moment, he only felt that the opponent in front of him suddenly changed into a different person, twisted around with a punch, and directly blasted him onto his hand knife. Fortunately, it was on the hand knife. If it were on other parts of the body, it would really not be an ordinary injury. Even if it was his hand knife, at this moment, he only felt a sharp pain, and everyone around him heard a strange noise in an instant. Click. There was a violent breaking sound, and the captain screamed, his arm deformed, and he flew away. This was because Pierce had slightly restrained his power level after feeling the explosion of his power. Otherwise, this move would probably kill the captain. This. Looking at the captain who was knocked away and fell to the ground, not knowing whether he was alive or dead, a group of night patrol members were all at a loss. They never thought that their captain, who was almost invincible in their eyes, would actually lose to an outside challenger. And it failed in such a violent mode. Obviously, this last move was Pierce's counterattack that unleashed some kind of power. What if that was his true power? It's terrible to think about it, knowing that the captain was defeated by him with one punch. Each of these giants quickly turned their eyes away under Pilz's gaze, not daring to look at him. Haha, I won. In that case, I will. Pierce won the battle, and when he came back to his senses, he felt as if he was in a dream. You must know that he was alone and defeated all the members of the night patrol team. This was something he had never dreamed of before. But now that he had done it, he suddenly felt that the tightness in his chest was completely relieved. In a happy mood, he wanted to leave. Originally, he knew that if he defeated the entire night patrol team, then he would be the captain of the night patrol team, but he didn't think that this kind of thing was that simple, so he wanted to leave simply like this. Etc. Over there, the captain who had just been knocked away by Pilz quickly stood up under waves of severe pain. He came to Pierce. What? Are you still not convinced? Pierce's confidence is extremely strong now, because he knows that his master must have helped with that move just now. With such a master who can greatly increase his strength, who else is he afraid of? Of course, if he knew that his cheap master could only help him with that blow just now and now had no power to help him anymore, would he suddenly panic? Fortunately, he didn't know about this now, otherwise he would lose his confidence and make the Night Watch team think that he has no strength to fight anymore, and they might join together to fight him again. Your Excellency, I have no intention of fighting you again, but I want to tell you that if you want to obtain my identity, According to the regulations, you have already obtained it. In other words, as long as you are willing, from now on, you will be the captain of our night patrol. The words of the captain of the night patrol made Pierce suddenly startled. He gained the status of captain of the night patrol. Although he had long known that this matter had a certain possibility, he knew that his strength was not really that powerful, and he did not dare to fight for it just now. But he didn't want to do anything at all, and he was actually brought to his door? This was beyond his expectation. He was in a daze when he suddenly heard the master's words in his ears. "What are you still doing? Don't you want to give your son and wife a better life? The opportunity is right in front of you, why don't you seize it?" Jia Yan's reminder made the tall giant respond suddenly. "Yes, master's reminder is correct. He has no place to stay in the city at all, and he has not gone to work these days. The brother who rented his house came to his house several times under the coercion and inducement of his wife, asking vaguely when they were going to, only then can I move out. After all, he has no job, and it is simply impossible to rely on his family to support him. And if Pierce can obtain the status and identity of the captain, it will be like reaching the sky in one step, at least for him, that is the case. He hesitated. Unexpectedly, the captain, after hearing this sentence, automatically clasped his fists in great respect. "Sir, from now on, you are the captain of our night patrol team. The status of each of us has been pushed back from the original position. I am the deputy captain, and the former deputy captain has been changed to the position of the squad leader. Everyone has come to see the captain." The former captain yelled at the surroundings. "I've met the captain." When the former captain was the first to recognize him, the people around him had no psychological obstacles. It's just that they had the same mentality as the former captain. They didn't know why he was so positive. "I understand, the former captain is worried because he has to compete with the big guys from the neighboring blocks these days. So that's what happened. The new captain happened to be stronger than him. Maybe he actually has certain abilities. Forget it, we lost anyway. Of course we want him to be our captain. Having a captain with such strength is the best help to us." After the team members figured it out, they had no intention of resisting Pierce's instructions. "Well, okay then, I'll be your captain, but I have to learn how to fight with my master on weekdays, so I may not be able to come often." After some hesitation, Pierce said that he wanted to learn from a master. This means he is smarter. After all, he immediately thought that what he learned from Jia Yan must not be known to others. Then when he works here, others will gradually notice that something is wrong with him, even if Jia Yan is here. In his clothes, he couldn't explain how he slowly became more powerful, couldn't he? So it's better to make it clear directly that if he has to come, then he would rather not be the captain. Because his heart is brighter, with Jia Yan's presence, his combat effectiveness will only get stronger and stronger. Even with his current combat effectiveness, he will have no problem at least being a guard of an ordinary big family, so he might as well continue to follow. Jia Yan gets stronger. Haha, it turns out there is a master. Mr. Pirzi must be a famous disciple. Is he so powerful? There is no need to worry about the time issue you mentioned. On weekdays, you only need to come and report every day. You can leave if you tell me. If anything happens, we will come to your home to find you." The former captain, when he heard that Pierce actually said that he had some kind of master, he respected Pierce even more for a moment. There is a master, and he himself is so strong, so the strength of Pierce's master is definitely more terrifying, and he may be a strong man who has reached the Taoist level. He is really more willing to have such a person as the captain, which means he has a big backer. And how long will such a person, with such a good master, stay in this small night patrol? He will definitely leave soon, won't the captain's position still be his? Thinking of this, his attitude towards Pierce became more correct. Of course, if the captain knew that Pierce's so-called master was actually hiding in his clothes, and that he was a very weak little bug, I don't know what his expression would be. It won't be a good expression after all. Of course, no one knows this now, and all the team members feel even more respectful towards Pilz, who is so powerful and has a master. Not long after, Pierce, led by the former captain, slowly inspected the night patrol station. "Captain, here are our documents. There are not many of them. Please take a look." "No." Pierce actually didn't know many words, but he also knew that the average night patrol team had so many documents. They were just ordinary written notices put down on it. After all, the powers of the night patrol team were not big. He couldn't sit still now. He just wanted to go home quickly and share the good news with his wife and son. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1528. Of course, in front of all the new subordinates, he did not lose face and behaved very calmly. "Okay, that's it, right? You will deal with this kind of thing in the future, but you have to submit my paperwork as soon as possible. I'll leave first." Pierce sat for a while and then immediately announced his departure. "Ha ha. Ha ha ha." As soon as they rounded an alley, Pierce burst out laughing. It felt so good just now, especially the blow that Jia Yan helped him fight at the end, which was simply beyond his imagination. He even felt that if he could keep using such tricks, he would definitely be able to rank in the city. "Number. Master, I win." "If you win, just win." "This is what I expected." Jia Yan said this lightly in his clothes. The expected praise did not come. Pierce came to his senses and thought, isn't it? Jia Yan should have a complete grasp of his fighting power, otherwise why would he be allowed to challenge the most powerful person in the night patrol? As a person who has climbed up from the bottom, he is a bit wild at this time, but Jia Yan feels like an extremely strict teacher to him. After all, Jia Yan is becoming more and more important now. If Jia Yan did not exist just now, he estimated that it would be a little difficult to defeat the captain on his own. In other words, this master is actually his biggest helper. Without him, Pierce might be knocked back to his original form immediately. Master is right. I just defeated the captain, so what does he mean? What master taught me is the great way. If I can learn it, it will definitely lead to the great way. The giant immediately complimented Jia Yan as much as he could. Jia Yan obviously knew he was complimenting him, but he accepted it calmly. After all, Jia Yan must have a certain degree of dignity in front of this apprentice who is stronger than himself. The way to maintain majesty is to constantly act like a majestic master in front of him. Of course, Jia Yan still has other methods, but the situation is not yet there, so there is no way to use it. He felt that these two disciples of the giant clan were in line with his ideas. It would be the best thing if he could not use that method. "Wife, son, your dad is back." "Ha ha ha, great news." Pilz had just stepped into the house. Even though he had already been criticized by Jia Yan, in front of his family, he couldn't help but wanted to show off the status and honor he had just gained to his son and wife. "What good news? Dad, have you come back from fighting?" "Ha ha, you win." Both his wife and son knew that Pierce had gone to fight, and now he seemed to be intact and cheerful, which was of course good news. But they couldn't bring themselves to expose Pierce's good mood, right? So I pretended not to know and asked him again. "Ha ha, that's right, your dad and I defeated the night patrol captain. Even their whole night patrol team was dispatched. Dad and I killed several of them in a row. Then the night patrol captain was forced to take action, but Dad was also beaten. I knocked him down. That's awesome. It's amazing, it's amazing. It's a direct battle. Dad can win because the master is playing a role. Well, Can't you give Dad some face? Of course not. I am your senior brother, Dad. Do you know what senior brother means? In terms of cultivation, I will always be your senior brother. Now I am criticizing my junior brother. Dad, please don't think that I am wrong. Okay, you are right. I am your junior brother, and your criticism is appropriate. And what I just said is right. I can only win the battle with Master here. Hey, where is Master? Pierce had a conversation with his son and wanted to see Jia Yan. Unexpectedly, Jia Yan actually took off his clothes without his knowledge. Jia Yan was showing that he had no intention of getting involved in the power of a night patrol somewhere in a giant city. In fact, he really doesn't need it, but now that he has it, there might be something he can use it for. The Pierce family here, because Pierce actually got the position of captain of the night patrol in one fell swoop, the whole family was extremely happy. And under such circumstances, time began to pass again. When Jia Yan flew out of Pierce's body that day, he was also showing his attitude that no matter how powerful Pierce and the others were, they were just disciples of Jia Yan. Jia Yan even had the ability to leave under their noses. This way of leaving is of course a subspace talent. He showed it just to remind them not to look down on him, a small outsider, just because he has some strength. In fact, Jia Yan's strength has indeed improved greatly these days. Piers has taken control of the situation. In this case, some of the plans I had thought of before can be implemented. In the house in a corner of the giant's courtyard, Jia Yan practiced silently. This house has been simply processed into compartments by Jia Yan and Pierce, using their giant's terrifying tools. His small creatures who took refuge were practicing silently in those compartments. They did not get Jia Yan's inheritance. After all, as an outsider, Jia Yan had no need to help them. Moreover, if Jia Yan could not take advantage of the children of the giant clan, he might not be able to tolerate it either. But this group of creatures can be regarded as siding with Jia Yan. They have no human feelings but a sense of companionship, so Jia Yan took them in. My strength has improved rapidly these days. If I hadn't been an evolved beast, I would have borrowed several so-called Taos from this world to help me develop a strong awareness of improvement. And there will definitely be the danger of an unstable foundation. It's just that the strength has improved too fast. The blood of the giant family has too much uncertainty for me. If I want to find out the balance point behind this feeling, or find the blood that is most suitable for me to devour, then we need more giant blood versions. Jia Yan's eyes brightened. He knew that Pierce and the so-called captain of the night patrol were having a bit of a feud, and since challenges were popular in this world, he had set the goal of asking Pierce to challenge him from the beginning. Naturally, this purpose will not only benefit Pierce. For Jia Yan, how can he do such a thankless thing? So at this moment, an idea that he could carry out after Pierce won was once again moved to his agenda. Now, it depends on whether Pierce is willing to help me. Jia Yan thought about this matter indifferently, and then finally put forward this condition 5 days after Pierce defeated the former captain of the night patrol, that is, after Pierce and the others had officially become proficient in the power of brain waves. Or should I say, it's a request. Well, the teacher wants me to be part of the night patrol, and wants the blood of all of them. Pierce glanced furtively at Jia Yan. You know, this world is different from the universe that Jia Yan was in before. Over there, because of the different systems, the energy sense of biological beliefs is also different, so the universe over there is almost based on fighting, whoever is stronger. Ox. But it is different in this world, because there are too many so-called Tao, or weird creatures in the dark, so in this world, the blood of creatures is not something that can be taken out casually. With this blood, other creatures may make you regress in strength and make you worse than life or death. Even your body will be controlled by the creature that has obtained your blood. So when Pierce heard Jia Yan's request, he nodded. Because no one will hand over a drop of his own blood. Don't say it's impossible. This is the first task I've given you as a teacher. It's also a very important thing for me. Please hurry up and I'll do it. Otherwise, you'll only ask for things from me, but you'll get nothing. Teachers don't want people who repay their kindness. Jia Yan said threatening words. If it had been before defeating the captain, Pierce might have actually considered abandoning Jia Yan. But now, he has experienced powerful happiness. Where is it possible to give up? Master, I'm not willing to give up yet, please let me try. Pierce quickly knelt down. In that case, please use your ability to do things for me. Otherwise, do you think I have to go with you for everything? Jia Yan said calmly to his older giant man. With an anxious mood, Pierce hurriedly headed towards the place where the night patrol was. Jia Yan didn't really trust this apprentice in everything, but if he went to the night patrol once, he would have to follow him and look after him. Wouldn't this mean that he was fighting to handle matters? He accepted these two apprentices just to find a backer and to see if he could make further progress. But it's definitely not for work. For example, the night patrol team has been captured. Of course, this apprentice has to take care of it himself. If he can't even complete a single task, it would be a huge disappointment to Jia Yan. Master is looking up to me. I think that blood is a very important thing to master. Even if you leave this kind of thing to me, doesn't it mean that my status in Master's eyes is getting more and more important? Hi. As he walked towards the direction of the night patrol in his memory, Pierce slowly changed his demeanor while thinking about how to please Jia Yan even more. It's hard for people to imagine that he looks like this. Before this, he had always looked down upon Jia Yan. Even when Jia Yan said he wanted to challenge the captain of the night patrol, he almost had the idea of worshipping the wrong master. On the other side of Pierce, Jia Yan didn't care. He couldn't go to the night patrol alone and be challenged or attacked, right? He still has his own things to do. That is the improvement of strength. I can feel that my strength has reached a certain critical point of strength recently due to the continuous blood food of the giant family. So, this is later stellar stage. Before Jia Yan came to this world, he never thought that he would encounter such a big change in the spiritual realm and travel to this world. He never expected that in this world, with the help of the blood of the giant family, he would improve so quickly. In just over a month, he had reached the critical point of strength again. If you are promoted again, you will be in the late stellar stage. And an evolutionary beast that has reached the late stellar level will be as strong as other senior evolutionary beasts. Once it reaches the late stellar stage, it will be almost invincible at this level, and even there is a certain probability, and the strength to kill the enemy beyond the level. After Jia Yan reached the star level, he actually did not enjoy the super strong treatment of the star level powerhouses. After all, other strong men are generally stable in a certain area. The strong men there are stable and there are even no equivalent star level beings. However, it is absolutely enough for a star level being to sit in one place. That's why others think that an ordinary star also has a high status in the universe and is alive and well. But Jia Yan is different. In the original universe, after he reached the star level, he always had something to do and made trouble. Under such circumstances, the opponents he encountered were of course extremely powerful, which made him very depressed. He felt that even if he had cultivated to the star level, his strength would be equivalent to the level of the starry sky behemoth as the star field on Earth calls it. It's still not powerful enough. But if he can really cultivate to the lower level of star level this time, it will be absolutely different. There may be many star level powerhouses in the universe, but a person who is a lower level star or even a galaxy level person is definitely rare. The evolutionary beast's later stellar level is so powerful that it is absolutely invincible at this level. Even if Jia Yan has not reached this level, he has already demonstrated his ability to kill enemies beyond levels at this time. And what if he reaches the lower level of a star? How terrifying will the strength be? Is there even a chance to accomplish something that few people have been able to do throughout the ages, killing a galaxy level across ranks? This is all something Jia Yan himself doesn't know. In short, he now has a hint of promotion. That's why he wanted Pierce to collect the blood of the creatures on the night watch. Master, I'm back. Here is the blood of the giants you want. Because I don't know what kind of blood you need, I asked each of their blood to be packed separately. Pierce's ability to do things seems to be really good. Jia Yan had just practiced for a while when he returned home carrying a big blood-colored bag. And the big bag was filled with various small bags, each of which contained a little bit of blood from a giant. This greatly facilitates Jia Yan's operation. It was well done, Pierce. You are very clever. I am very satisfied with your mission this time. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1529. Okay, now give me this blood. Jia Yan praised Piltz and asked for the blood bag in Piltz's hand. It's quite heavy. Even though Jia Yan had expected it, he took the relatively small blood bag from Pierce's hand, but he was still shocked by the heavy weight and almost let go. To him, such weight is as big as a small planet. Fortunately, he is not the Jia Yan who just arrived in this world. With strength in this world, he was promoted to the top of the stellar mid-level, and he was almost promoted to the high-level star. In addition, he also understood the Tao and repaired the Yin and Yang Dao. So today's Jia Yan, compared to him who just came to this world, his strength has more than doubled or tripled. At this moment, he didn't want to lose face in front of his apprentice. After stabilizing his strength in an instant, he exploded his strength and caught the blood bag without falling at all. It's like a 5-kilometer large creature controlling and capturing a planet that's 100 kilometers away. It's simply an astonishing and terrifying thing. Master, I forgot. Just when Pierce handed the blood bag to Jia Yan, he thought of Jia Yan's true identity. Hastily is an action to withdraw the force. But he saw keenly that Jia Yan actually controlled the blood bag he took, and he was suddenly startled. You must know that he had always believed that his master, even if he was indeed a bit powerful, was not really terrifying to their giants. Looking at it now, it doesn't seem to be the case. Of course, it was just a bag, and it didn't mean anything to him. He was just stunned at this moment. Okay, I will conduct research for a period of time. Now you can practice slowly according to the techniques you have learned. I hope that one day, you can practice my formal Yin and Yang Dao. Jia Yan said this calmly and asked him to tell his son Chuang how. Pierce didn't know Jia Yan's true plan yet, so he just nodded, thinking that Jia Yan must have just said it casually. But what he didn't know was that if Jia Yan reached a high level of star level, he would disappear. That's right, this is what Jia Yan is planning now. This world is very powerful and advanced. Maybe in this world, Jia Yan can go further than the outside universe. After all, it is equivalent to a galaxy-level existence. It seems that he has just entered the Tao here. It is conceivable that there are definitely creatures in this world that are more terrifying than the galaxy level. In other words, level, if Jia Yan develops here, he may be able to reach a more powerful stage, a level that is beyond the reach of all creatures in the galaxy and even unimaginable. But that's only in the future. The current Jia Yan is still too weak. At least he would not consider such a thing until he reached the galaxy level. Sir, Lord Jia Yan, this is. When Jia Yan returned to the huge house, each of the following creatures looked at the huge giant bag that Jia Yan was carrying, almost dumbfounded. You must know that they know the bags of the giant family very well. As a creature of the city, he naturally knows a lot about the giants lifting things. But now this Lord Jia Yan actually has the strength to lift all the bags of a giant family. In their eyes, it is like Superman lifting a plane, which is terrifyingly tight. This is the blood of the giant clan. I'm going to start researching it. Don't disturb me. My two giant clan apprentices, you can also stop me. If anything happens, wait until I get out of seclusion. Jia Yan said lightly, and then he returned to his huge room. Although it is said to be a room, in fact, to Jia Yan, it is like a big super space, dozens of kilometers across, which is definitely not small. In this room, Jia Yan untied the bags of the giant family. Inside this bag is the blood of the giant family contained in small bags. The blood is also marked with name and other information, which shows that Pierce performed extremely well in this matter. He did a good job indeed, and he is a good apprentice. However, if I can be promoted, I don't know how long it will take to return to this world next time. It's a pity that such an obedient and good apprentice has good fighting ability. Jia Yan also felt a little sorry for the man who was a giant, but he would not change his future just because of such a small feeling. In fact, as a star-level being, Jia Yan may be just a weakling in this world, but in another world, that is to say, in the galaxy, he is definitely a figure who has reached the top level of combat power. His mentality is also a bit decisive as a big man should be. That is, even if there is something that fascinates him here and there are possibilities for future development, Jia Yan really leaves easily when he says he wants to leave. There is nothing sloppy about it. Puff. After tearing open the first bag, Jia Yan felt a long-lost sense of attraction. What a unique feeling. It is indeed the blood of 3 giants. Is it related to the fact that I gave you the antibodies? The new blood of a giant will be more attractive. Jia Yan analyzed lightly. For him, this adventure or the task assigned to his apprentice was a complete success, because he knew that as long as the first bag was attractive, the next one, as long as it was not the apprentice, the blood of a family of giants, would be of great help to him. Hey, this bag seems special. Suddenly, Jia Yan felt a bag of giant blood, which was different from the previous feeling. It seems faintly more powerful. Is this the blood of a Taoist-level being? Could it be that the blood of a powerful giant clan would be of greater help to me? Jia Yan suddenly felt happy, because among the giant blood here, there was less blood of ordinary giants, and more blood of junior giants. He quickly wanted to try it and opened the blood bag of the former captain. Oh, it's a pity. Strong is strong, but there is a limit to how strong you can be. After Jia Yan felt it for a while, he shook his head with regret. This captain's blood is indeed more useful than the previously opened Tau-level giant blood, but it is only a little stronger, not much. Of course, this is a normal situation. After all, although he is powerful, he is just like the other members of the Night Watch team of the giant clan, and is a junior-level existence. Strong because of his moves, on-the-spot reactions during battles, etc. But it's enough. There are so many. I won't have too many problems if I can reach the lower level of the star level, right? After all, in this world, my level has always been relatively simple. Jia Yan thought so much silently, and then began to practice in seclusion for countless times in this world. In the original galaxy, most cultivation methods involved competing for resources. Only under such circumstances could he quickly improve his level. But in this world, Jia Yan felt that his strength could be improved quickly without much external help at all. Of course, with the help of outside forces, the speed will be faster, like now. It's great. The blood of this beginner-level giant is really better than I imagined. Jia Yan sighed like this when he suddenly drank the blood of a certain giant clan. In contrast, he felt that the blood of the ordinary giant clan, such as the Pirzi family, was far inferior to the blood of the junior giant clan. To a certain extent, It did not even look like a living creature. Of course, in this world, such a statement would definitely not be accepted, because there is only one level difference between the primary level and ordinary creatures. If this were not considered the same kind of creatures, then the world would have been in chaos long ago. Gurgling, gurgling. Jia Yan silently sucked a bag of blood, but his stomach had already swelled beyond the limit of imagination. A 5-kilometer-long giant mosquito stretched as if it were 10 kilometers long. It looked absolutely terrifying, and its stomach felt like it was about to explode. Digest first, then come back. Jia Yan hasn't felt so happy for a long time. He digested the bag of giant blood. The energy of this blood is quickly absorbed, and the excess passes through the air and is introduced to the outside world. The energy that is beneficial to Jia Yan remains in the body. Perhaps his body vaguely knew that he was about to mutate and evolve again, so at this time, he silently emitted many condensate-like objects, speeding up the absorption process. For Jia Yan, the body of the evolved beast is almost his greatest reliance. Every time he mutates and evolves, he is always able to quickly meet the physical requirements. In the past, the speed of progress in the Milky Way slowed down because of resource constraints and his strong strength. The Milky Way wanted to accommodate his mutation again. It's a very difficult thing. But it's different in this world. For him, almost everything here is a body that absorbs resources with huge energy. So as everyone can see, Jia Yan's strength has become as powerful as a rocket recently. The same is true at this time. After rapid absorption, Jia Yan felt that his body was slowly and surprisingly slowly digesting the blood energy of the giants. His stomach, which was full of blood, actually quickly digested the fishy-smelling blood that almost swelled him up. Come again. Jia Yan hurriedly aimed his needle at the next blood bag again. Another quick draw. Soon, his belly became round again. Even this time I drank more than last time, and my belly swelled to a size of 11 kilometers. It's so hot. Jia Yan instantly felt something different. What he was absorbing this time was the blood of a being who had reached the primary level. The sense of power contained in it was certainly not comparable to the blood of the ordinary giant family before. If his so-called subordinates dared to take a peek, they might be shocked by what they saw in front of them. Lord Jia Yan, who was originally only 5 kilometers in size, actually quickly absorbed the blood after getting the blood bag of the giant clan, and stretched his belly to many times its usual size. It was full of giant clan members. Of blood. You must know that it is the blood of the giant family. For other races, it is not that they do not want to use it, but the first point is that it is difficult to obtain. The second point is that the blood of the giant family is too powerful for other races. The power and violence contained in it, no matter what it is used for, does not seem to have much effect. It is better to buy or rob medicines from other races at a smaller price. But Jia Yan, a mysterious man with unknown strength, actually did not use the blood of so many giants for research or anything as he said, but instead devoured it at this moment. If this is really discovered by other creatures, it will definitely be big news. Fortunately, his subordinates would never dare to enter his room. Even the disciples of the two giant clans probably wouldn't dare to do this. What no one knows is that in this lonely room, an outsider who has been in this world for a long time has slowly improved his strength. Pain. Too much momentum. The blood of the beginner-level giants is really scary. In this space, Jia Yan was swallowing silently. The blood of different types of giants made Jia Yan feel happy and a little uncomfortable. After all, it was not that simple for him to completely devour such a terrifying power level. But Jia Yan endured it. Soon, a huge cocoon-like thing appeared in this room. This cocoon-like thing seems to have extremely shocking power because of the condensation wrapped in it, which cannot be vented. It is difficult for the outside world to feel that there is actually a huge power in this room, which is silently being slowly absorbed and then digested by a certain creature using condensation. This mutation was done very carefully. After all, there are not many powerful beings in this world. If a little bug like Jia Yan has a unique way of promotion, he might not attract the attention of too many powerful people, but if his energy is so weird, maybe he will. There will be strong people coming to covet it. Therefore, he was very careful in all his promotion steps. The powerful creatures in this world may have never thought that there would be an outsider who came to this world unexpectedly. When they were weak, they struggled to develop to the strength they are today, and they are heading towards the next level. Advance in strength. As long as he reaches that level of strength, he will once again leave quietly in the same way as before without anyone noticing. If it goes smoothly, maybe in the future, for this creature, this world will become a place where people can come and go freely. What that means to this even powerful world is something that no one knows. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1530. In a quiet space. A body that reaches about 10 kilometers in length towers in the space. If we don't say anything, people on Earth will definitely think that this space is a small planet or other facility. But if you zoom in on the layout of this space, some people will be shocked to find that there is no planet here, but it is actually a huge space like a room. And around this room, there are several smaller, but equally huge rooms. Those are exactly where the subordinates live. And that giant body of 10 kilometers was Jia Yan, who made a breakthrough in this space. At this time, his whole body was wrapped in a cocoon, and waves of terrifying power erupted from the cocoon. But these powers were directly digested within the cocoon, with little spillage. In the center of the cocoon, there is a huge mosquito figure that looks like a mosquito, but is in a newborn state at this moment. His slender mouthparts are extremely sharp and are more than half the length of his body. The forelegs are even more slender and seem to contain endless power. Puff puff. The heart beats with full power. Through the beating of the heart, one can feel the extremely terrifying vitality of the creatures within it. And in such a time, the days of this world flew by quickly. Isn't my master out of seclusion yet? Why did his seclusion take so long this time? A buzzing sound sounded outside the house. If anyone on Earth looked outside, they would probably be frightened to death. Because the existence of this sound is actually as huge as the moon seen on the Earth, and a sound can easily shock people on Earth to death. This lord of the giant clan, our lords have already said that he is practicing now. He has not taken the initiative to leave seclusion. You cannot call him even for big things. In front of this huge family of giants is a beetle creature. At this time, this beetle creature had barely gotten used to being a giant and often came to talk to them. Of course, when facing the existence of this giant, or facing his son and wife, this group of subordinates simply do not dare to use their status that is closer to Lord Jia Yan to point fingers at them. Even more respectful. After all, it is simply unheard of for a giant clan to show such respect to creatures of other races. Why is my master in solitary confinement? Is he about to break through again? Pierce was extremely confused and no longer tried to force the trembling beetle creature in front of him, which was almost frightened. He walked back, talking to himself. Haha, brother, my wife said something that chilled you before. I came here specifically to say sorry to you this time. Outside the door, there was a man from the giant clan who came, hugging Pierce and his wife who came out. What are you talking about? Aren't we brothers? Come in quickly. Pierce quickly welcomed the man into the room. He couldn't help but welcome him, and he was very grateful to the man who came now. Because this man from the giant family was the one who borrowed their house. Although his wife said a lot of bad things, he had resisted his wife's pressure before and allowed his family to have a place to stay in the city. And now that this man would come, Pierce was not surprised. Because he had obtained the position of captain of the nearby night patrol, This incident had already spread throughout the surrounding area. It was strange that his brother did not hear about it. Haha, my wife is too embarrassed to come here today, but I still ask you, brother, to be gentle. My wife is just a woman. How could she know the friendship between us brothers? The man became extremely respectful to Pierce. You must know that a night patrol captain may not sound like much to ordinary people, but in fact he has a lot of power, and he often tastes some special sweetness. As Piltz's brother, he had resisted his wife's pressure and lent the house to Piltz. Now he was quite relieved and felt that his brother would not treat him badly. I really don't know, brother, your strength is actually to the extent that even the captain of the night patrol cannot defeat you. When I heard the news before, I was simply shocked. Haha, thank you. If my master hadn't taught me well, how could a talent like mine have reached the level I am today? Pierce laughed, but did not say Jia Yan's name. As a man from the giant clan, he knew that it would be difficult for him to explain why his strength suddenly increased, but now he just wanted to tell others that he had a master. If this master can resolve most of other people's doubts, then he will be satisfied. When the brother heard this, he suddenly felt more respect. Because in this world of giants, your talent is nothing. If you have a master, it is powerful. Especially now that Pierce has reached the first level, then his master, at least he must also be a powerful person who has entered the Dao level, right? In that case, this brother's backstage will be huge. In other races, a Dao level being may not have such great influence, and is only one level behind the beginner level. But for their giants, it's completely different. In this city, there are not many Tao level giants anymore, especially their strength. Because they are giants, it is extremely difficult to improve, and their strength is completely different from others. Even the existence of the junior Tao level is in front of them. None pose much of a threat. It can be seen how terrifying and astonishing a Dao level existence can be in the city of giants. As for a more powerful being this brother's master, this brother will not think so at all, because the next level of giant is accurate, that is already a real high-level person, and even in the city, there are no two they sit in command, and they travel all year round in major cities controlled by the giant clan. As the real trump card and backbone of the entire giant clan, the apprentices accepted by such beings will definitely not be talented people like Piltz. Brother, you are going to be successful now, so I will come over to celebrate. It doesn't matter how long you want to use this house in the future. The rent will be paid as well. Okay, I will definitely do it. By the way, I heard that there are any festivals in this night patrol team. Do you want to compete with other night patrol teams? I have no one else in the city who can ask, brother. Please tell me. Pierce had great faith in his brother. After all, when he was in poverty, this brother rented his house to him for no money, regardless of his family's objections. Yes, as far as I know, there are actually some festivals and other things happening between the night patrol teams. For example, the night patrol team you are in now often fights with other night patrol teams. If the loser, you need to reduce the welfare of your own night patrol team and increase the welfare of the winning night patrol team. Brother, I have to remind you at this point that your night patrol team seems to have lost several games. If you lose again, your salary will be reduced to the same level as ordinary people. It is estimated that many team members will resign because they cannot see the future. I see. It seems I have to prepare well. This was the first time Pierce knew about this matter, and he nodded to express his understanding. He also understood at the same time why the former captain was so excited when he knew he would take over the night patrol. It turns out that if he, Pierce, doesn't take over, their night patrol team won't win, and it will still fall apart. Maybe this area will be taken over by other night patrol teams. It's better to hand over the captaincy to Piltz, maybe there will be opportunities for development in the future. It seems that I have to improve my strength and scare the surrounding night patrol teams in the future. Pierce is still very confident about his own strength. After all, the master taught him many ways to improve his strength in the future before retreating. If the master really never appears again, he will have to explore by himself, even if the speed of improvement is improved. It will be a little slower, but it will definitely not be much slower than the previous improvement speed. Deep in his heart, a thought called desire for power was slowly growing. No one knows what kind of mentality a creature will have after it has strength. Even if it is an existence that originally seemed to be honest, what will happen to it after it reaches a certain level of strength? Not even he himself knows. Will understand. Pierce, an ordinary forest farmer, changed his mentality after gaining strength. Of course, this is no longer something Jia Yan can understand, nor is it something he wants to understand. He even felt that his apprentice had gained a better status, which was a good thing for him. At least Pierce has practiced his yin and yang dao, so the more he continues to practice in the future, the more he will be in Jia Yan's control. Puff puff. Inside the huge cocoon, the huge mosquito figure slowly changes. This mutation didn't actually cause much pain. Perhaps it is because of the perfection of yin and yang dao, or perhaps because the main energy of mutation in this trip comes from the blood of the giant family, so Jia Yan's mutation is stable and full of alternative experiences that are completely different from the previous mutations. This feeling of experience is not easy to describe, but Jia Yan really felt it. Even my consciousness, apart from disappearing at the beginning, actually remained there after that. Jia Yan's consciousness was constantly thinking inside the huge cocoon. The external torso has not yet completely mutated, but he can already feel everything around him. My brainwave power has become so much stronger during this trip, but there seems to be another difference. He was thinking vaguely. That difference was exactly what he felt, another weird thing. That was another wonderful force in his body, which actually became much stronger. Even this kind of power, during his mutation period, also absorbed a huge amount of power, slowly growing, almost reaching an extremely terrifying level. The power of Onmyoto. Jia Yan was a little surprised. But thinking about it, after he came to this world, he didn't know what the so-called Tao was from the beginning. Until now, he understands Tao to a certain extent. So during his mutation this time, it is not surprising that even with this so-called Tao, great progress can be made. Beginner level. Jia Yantu mustered up his strength. It's not that he thinks there's anything wrong with this new power. After all, the power of Tao in this world, compared to the brainwave power he has been learning before, he can tell at a glance that the power of this world is, that is, the so-called Tao refers to the essence of power. Even the strong ones here are much more powerful than the strong ones in the outside universe, at least for the galaxy where Jia Yan is located. Then with the new Tao power, he shouldn't be unhappy. But Jia Yan still feels a little depressed. That's because he thinks that he has a lot of various powers and fighting skills, and more importantly, a large part of them, just very rudimentary strength or skill. It is true that those powers may have been learned by Jia Yan with great effort and almost at the cost of his life, but to him now, these powers are not that important at all. What's even more frightening is that these abilities and skills may affect Jia Yan's battle judgment in a truly fatal battle, leading to big mistakes. Then I should make a choice and discard some unnecessary skills in the future, or forget them. Jia Yan made these decisions with heartache. Of course, his most important direction now is still to break through with all his strength. There is still blood left, keep using it. Jia Yan felt from a distance that there was still a huge space in the room outside his huge cocoon. A lot of the giant blood bag that Pierce gave him was still on the ground. So he had just recovered a little bit of brainwave power and used it instantly to lift one of the bags. Gurgling gurgling. A trace of condensation quickly swallowed up the bag of giant blood. Then, Jia Yan felt new energy pouring into his body. Very good, I only need 3 more days and my breakthrough will be completed. Perhaps I will be able to return to my original universe by then. My hometown seems to have been away for a long time, and not much time has passed. I miss it a bit. Jia Yan silently thought about these things, but the power of his brain waves kept on devouring bags of the blood of the giant clan. Time, so slowly, passed for another 3 days. Overall, Jia Yan has been in seclusion for about 2 weeks. Today, it's time for the 3rd day. Boom. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1531. The hard cocoon was completely torn apart by an explosion of astonishing force. Inside the cocoon, a majestic figure emerged slowly and clearly from the smoke and dust of the explosion. That stalwart figure may not be so shocking and terrifying in front of the giant Yizun. But in the outside universe, this has already reached a huge body of 10 kilometers. How could it not be scary? A 10-kilometer-long creature is definitely beyond the imagination of ordinary creatures. Haha, I'm out of seclusion. The behemoth stepped out of the smoke and dust with a faint kick. As he stepped out, the entire body was revealed outside the smoke. On top of the explosive debris of silkworm cocoon-like things all over the ground, this creature stepped on these explosive objects with 6 legs. He has a surprisingly slender mouthpart that is 6 or 7 kilometers long. Except for the mouthparts, the rest of the body also reaches a size of 10 kilometers, and each of its 6 long legs exceeds the length of the body. Standing upright, it looks like a behemoth that is far larger than 10 kilometers. Haha, the stars are on the backstage. Puff. This creature put its foot on the ground, almost unable to suppress its smile. He is Jia Yan, who has just completed a new mutation. To him, this mutation was of great significance. After all, although he was considered a good player in the outside universe, his actual combat power was only the next level of a truly strong person. Now that he has reached the lower level of the star, with his cross-level combat ability that can transform into beasts, he may be able to fight even the weakest group of galaxy level. And with such strength, it can definitely dominate the universe over there. Of course, in this world, his current strength is not too weak. At least Jia Yan himself has thought that if he uses his own talents and skills, he might actually be able to fight against ordinary Enter-Deo level beings in this world, who are equivalent to galaxy level powerhouses. Well, after reaching the lower level of the star, I can try to see if I can leave this world. What Jia Yan is actually looking forward to most is leaving after being promoted. His roots are still in the original universe. Although this world is an extremely important target for Jia Yan's future promotion or strength, for him now, he is not fully prepared to survive here. So he was ready to leave. Master, have you left seclusion? Just when Jia Yan was about to tear apart the subspace, find a place with deep distortions in the subspace, and repeat the actions he took when he came to see if he could return to the original galaxy. Pierce's inquiry sounded from the outside world. Jia Yan was silent for a while. His current body has just completed the mutation and is no longer similar to his original self. His strength has also been greatly enhanced, and the apprentices and sons outside may not be used to it. So he gave up the idea of flying out directly to meet and talk with them. Now that we are all leaving, it is still unknown whether the city will appear again next time we come to this world. In other words, whether there will be a chance to meet in the future is also unknown. Talk to them now, say goodbye. Jia Yan thought so and nodded. He used the greatest brainwave power he could use now. It turns out that his brainwave power can only be transmitted a few hundred kilometers away in this world. But now that he has been promoted to the lower level of the star, it is as if some shackles have been broken, and his brainwave power can actually be emitted to more than 1,000 kilometers. It was just at the distance where Pierce was in the outside world. Pilts. His voice rang in the air. Yes, Master, are you really out of seclusion? I just felt a sense of power explosion, so I came here to have a look. Pierce responded quickly, and at the same time he felt a little happy. You must know that he suddenly wanted to climb up these days and encountered some problems, so he wanted to come over and ask his chief master if he could give him some advice. But before Pierce could say anything, Jia Yan, after hearing what he said, actually said something that shocked Pierce. Pierce, you have been with me for a long time. Your son is very good, but he does not learn as fast as you. This does not mean that his talent is any less. You must teach him well in the future. I have left a share of Yin and Yang Dao for you. If you can practice to the highest depth of Yin and Yang Dao in the future, maybe I will appear again and teach you the next cultivation method. Now, I'm leaving and returning to the place where I should have been. Pierce, come on, try to be a member of my Yin Yang Dao lineage and work hard in the city. Jia Yan's voice seemed to have a hint of desolation. But Pierce didn't think much about the desolation at all, but was instantly stunned by the meaning of Jia Yan's words. What? Master, you are actually leaving, why is it so sudden? Pierce came over just now, just to say hello, and wanted to ask if it was Jia Yan who caused the explosive fluctuation. But he never expected that when he came over, his master would actually tell him that he was leaving immediately. This caught Pierce completely off guard. He still has a lot of things he wants to learn from Jia Yan, and even his Yin and Yang Dao has not yet been introduced. Although the things Jia Yan left behind are enough for him to practice for a long time, he doesn't want to lose them like this. Jia Yan's teachings. That's right, I'm about to leave, Pierce. The matter is rather urgent, so I'm sorry. You are now somewhat capable of protecting yourself. Just work hard in the future. We will definitely meet again one day. Jia Yan has slowly torn apart this space. As he spoke, he stepped into it silently. Jia Yan still feels a little unaccustomed to the fact that his body has reached a height of 10 kilometers. So he entered a little slower, but the feeling of speaking was still in this room and slowly disappeared. Master. No matter how stupid Pierce is, he still knows that Jia Yan is leaving at this time. On Jia Yan's side, the biological subordinates who heard their conversation also came to the door of Jia Yan's room. Although they couldn't see the situation inside through the door, they could still feel that after the breakthrough just now, the existence that was so powerful that they were a little stunned slowly left the space here. My lord. Jia Da felt completely loyal to Jia Yan, but now he was abandoned by him. Jia Yan's voice came out again from the slowly closing subspace. Peers, if you can, please take care of my subordinates. If I leave and you don't take care of them, they will definitely be attacked by the alliance of controllers. Yes, master. If it weren't for Jia Yan's words, Pierce might have turned around and forgotten about this group of creatures that seemed to be following his master. After all, even if they are the creatures who follow Jia Yan, their relationship with Jia Yan does not look very good. What's more, in the eyes of the giant clan, these creatures are just a group of bugs. But after Jia Yan said it, Pierce didn't dare to turn a deaf ear to it. You must know that he still hopes that Jia Yan can return one day and continue to guide him. Jia Yan on the other end can no longer hear any replies from the outside world. In short, he has said everything he said. If he is really unwilling to abide by it, Jia Yan has no other choice. There is no chance of seeing each other again in the future. Subspace. The world in front of Jia Yan was distorted. This is the first time Jia Yan has tried to move into the deep subspace of this world since he came to this world. Hey, the subspace here seems to be different from the previous subspace. More irritable and more active. No wonder when I moved and fought in this subspace before, I always felt that it was not so smooth. After Jia Yan observed it carefully, he discovered that although the subspace of this world can be said to be a subspace, many of the basic structures in it were completely different from the subspace he originally knew. This difference is probably related to the fact that most of the materials in this world are different from those in the Milky Way, or it should be said that many of the basic laws here are different from the Milky Way I used to live in. Jia Yan observed this subspace silently, and then flew into the depths of this space in silence. The six-dimensional subspace was not difficult for me in the previous galaxy, but it is extremely difficult for the subspace of this world. Even if I improve my strength, I am still at a high-level star level, but it's a bit difficult and dangerous to suddenly reach such a deep level. Quack, quack, quack. Jia Yan only felt that the subspace beside him was distorting piece by piece. Moreover, after this subspace was distorted, it almost reached the point where he could feel his heart beating with fear. The strange sound, deep in the subspace where no sound should be heard, passed through his exoskeleton and reached his hearing organs. And the huge pressure is so much that Jia Yan can't bear it now. Azure Defense. Jia Yan silently activated his strongest defense force. You know, Jia Yan is currently using a newborn exoskeleton. If there is no defensive power, his relatively fragile exoskeleton will definitely be crushed by the huge pressure in an instant. Soon, his body became like a big light bulb emitting blue light. In this place where there are no other colors at all, Jia Yan is like the brightest beacon, slowly moving forward in the subspace. However, even if the blue defense was working, the pressure in this space still made Jia Yan extremely uncomfortable. There are only 3 degrees here. To reach 6 degrees is simply beyond my imagination. Jia Yan found it difficult to move and smiled bitterly. After all, he thought that he could reach the lower level of stars and his strength could definitely pass the space test. Unexpectedly, he almost collapsed under the huge pressure of space again. But I won't admit defeat. A strange color flashed in Jia Yan's compound eyes. Level 4. The blue defense has reached a shaky point. Jia Yan held on and used his blue defense to rush into the depths of the 5th level subspace. Buzz. The distorted pressure from the outside world instantly caused his azure defense to crack. But when this moment came, Jia Yan used another of his now more powerful methods. That is his yin and yang way. Yin-yang Tao is the Tao of reversal. It is the way to resist and push back against external forces. Of course, this is just one of its functions, but just such a function is enough for Jia Yan to have another layer of protection at this moment. As soon as the yin and yang Dao came out, the pressure in the subspace was greatly reduced again. The azure defense also stabilized. Although the distortion in the outside world is still terrifying, Jia Yan is steadily moving forward amid this distortion. Entered the 6th level of that space. It's terrible pressure. Even if I use all my means, I can only stay in this space for 2 hours at most. Any more than this time will put me in danger. As soon as Jia Yan arrived here, he judged how long he could stay on the 6th floor. If there is no gain in 2 hours, then he must leave as soon as possible, otherwise his life will be endangered. And in this extremely twisted place, Jia Yan walked forward silently, checking all the way. He didn't dare to enter those places that were twisted to the extreme, and they were too twisted. He didn't think they were the same as when he came to this world. The degree of distortion is very similar to the distorted space when I first came. The best case scenario is the space from which my Chengjing came. Jia Yan recalled the feeling he had when he came to the subspace of this world. It was a distortion very similar to the twisted place that transported him to this world in the realm of the gods. If he could find the original object and enter it, Jia Yan believed that he would be able to return to the galaxy again. It doesn't matter that I moved a lot in that world, but in the subspace, especially in the deeper places, everything changes rapidly. If I move, I may return to the place where I originally appeared. When Jia Yan was searching for about an hour, his compound eyes suddenly lit up. Because in front of Jia Yan's eyes, there is a twisted space. It doesn't feel that the distortion is serious, but it is more dangerous. It feels very similar to the space he came from. Of course, This was not the twisted space sent to him, but if it was similar, wouldn't he be able to try it? Should I just try it with it, or should I continue to search and find the original twisted land that was sent to me? Jia Yan suddenly hesitated. There is less than an hour left. If you leave here and find the original version, it may not be possible at all. But if you just jump into such a distorted place that is not very similar, let alone whether you can teleport, even if you can, but if you arrive in a world where you don't know where, wouldn't it be more tearful and farther away from home? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1532. In the chaos, a creature exuding azure brilliance flew silently among it. No, as I guessed, if I just enter a strange and twisted place, then I will be finished. Jia Yan knew that his choice at this time was likely to cause a huge change in his future destiny. Although he has great survival ability in this space, if he falls into another world and wants to come back, it may not be that easy. Of course, Jia Yan doesn't know whether other twisted lands will lead to other worlds or spaces, or be a huge killing place. If it is a simple place of death, then he will be in vain. Been working hard for so long. Looking at it this way, it really doesn't work. I need to go back to the original twisted place. Jia Yan finally made a judgment. Then which side is it? He began to think. The time is less than an hour, but if it doesn't work this time, it won't matter next time. For Jia Yan, his own strength is different from that of ordinary strong men. Other strong men may have consumed too much power at one time, and it may take a certain amount of time to accumulate it to the same level as last time. The power of. But Jia Yan is different. He is an evolved beast. This time his power is exhausted, so if he goes back and absorbs some blood from the giant family, maybe it won't take long before his power is fully restored and he can enter again next time. But Jia Yan doesn't really want to waste time like this. I remember that I was in a state of confusion when I flew out from that direction. When Jia Yan first came to that world, he was greatly embarrassed by the impact of the distorted land, and his mind was not clear at that time, so he could not remember the specific events. But now that I think about it carefully, I can still figure out some details clearly. After roughly thinking of a direction, Jia Yan flew in that direction. Very good, I remember this place. When I first arrived in this world, I remember that my mind was a little damaged, so I staggered and flew to the outside world. Jia Yan flew quickly along the twisted direction that he was somewhat imprinted on. When he first arrived in the subspace of this world, his strength was much weaker than it is now, and he had just suffered extremely serious injuries in the distortion land, so his mind was not that clear, which was natural. But now he has recalled many details of the hard-working memories. This has to be said to be the reason why Jia Yan's strength has now reached another level. It seems still far away. Jia Yan looked into the distance. Although there was no distance in this space, he could still feel that the space there was relatively far away through his subspace talent. After all, he and the giant family came to the city of giants. Although the space can be folded in the subspace, so he can fly a long distance quickly, but it will take at least a while to get there. Anyway, let's give it a try. Even if you can't rush in this time, you can do it next time. When you get out, you won't go to the apprentice's place. Just find a better safe place to restore your strength. Jia Yan has already made plans for next time if he fails. In short, he has made up his mind and needs to rush back to the original universe. Jia Yan felt the space around him while flying. Of course, he still doesn't know what kind of world the space he has arrived in is, and it is not certain whether it is a so-called parallel universe. After all, even if it is the same universe, it is not impossible. The universe is too big. Even if there is such a planet, or a huge galaxy different from the Milky Way, it is very possible. The universe, as observed by people on Earth alone, spans nearly 100 billion light-years. This is called the visible universe by people on Earth. But the visible universe is just the visible universe. This is the universe measured by the propagation speed of light. No matter how far away the universe is, the speed of light is not as fast as the expansion of the universe. Therefore, even if it takes up a lifetime of people on Earth, it would be impossible to map how big it is even if the entire future race of Earthlings takes all their time. Some fantasy scientists have calculated that the initial expansion speed of the universe was 0.00000001 seconds, and it expanded to the size of a galaxy. And then, its expansion speed will only increase to some extent. The faster, according to this expansion speed, the true size of the universe can be roughly estimated. It will be the size of the universe visible to people on Earth, billions, billions, billions. In short, it will be as big as hundreds of billions multiplied by hundreds of billions. It's so huge that it's impossible to imagine. Within this area, what kind of galaxies are born, and what kind of laws are born, are all possible. As long as it doesn't roughly violate several basic forces of the universe, then there is no any problem. That is, such a world might just be in the same universe as the Milky Way. Jia Yan doesn't really believe in the talk of parallel universes or other multiverses. After all, he doesn't even understand his own universe. Many scientists want to understand parallel universes. Isn't this a joke? So he would rather believe that this place is in the same universe, and it is just because of the twisted space that he was attracted to this place by the unique twisted law. This is also an important reason why Jia Yan dares to be sure that even if he enters another twisted place, he may just appear in another place and will not be harmed. Because there is a law that should not be changed easily. In other words, since one of the twisted places here allowed him to step into a distant place, then the others should have similar characteristics. Of course, in order to ensure safety, Jia Yan still dare not venture into other twisted places easily. While flying, he thought a lot about the size of the universe and the basic force laws of the universe. The more he thought about it, the more Jia Yan felt his scalp numb. If we just talk about being strong, I may be considered a relatively powerful person in the galaxy now. Maybe even compared to some powerful places, I am not too strong. But with me like this, even if I eventually grow to surpass the strength of the old evolution beast seniors, for me, I am still far behind in understanding this universe. Even if you give me a second, I can clearly see the superpower of a galaxy the size of the Milky Way, but what does a Milky Way mean in the entire universe? Maybe it will take me a long time to see one clearly in 1 second. How many billions of years will it take before we can clearly see the galaxies in the entire universe? And in this process, many galaxies have died or merged, and we have to look at them all over again. So whether it is human beings or other powerful people, it is impossible to understand this universe. It can only be relative. Thinking about things, Jia Yan was not slow. By the time he came to his senses, another half-hour had passed, and it was not far from the time when he had no choice but to quit. Huh? We're here. Suddenly, Jia Yan felt that the space around him looked like the twisted land that he had just arrived at. It's nearby, look for it quickly, there are less than 10 minutes left, and if you consider the energy that may be consumed to deal with the twisted land, there are only about 2 minutes left at most. In these 2 minutes I can't find it, and even if I find it, I still have to consider my physical fitness and don't dare to take risks easily. Jia Yan quickly searched the surrounding subspace, wanting to see where the distortion was. There are actually a lot of distortions in this space. Just after flying a certain distance, Jia Yan encountered a twisted space. However, the feeling of this twisted land is different from the twisted land when he came. The energy is not so violent. This is wrong. This one here isn't right either. Jia Yan looked at 3 twisted lands in succession. There was only 30 seconds left that he recognized. If he couldn't find the twisted place within 30 seconds, even if he found it later, he would have to turn back because of safety issues, find a place to cultivate his strength, and try again next time he came. Huh? Found it, hurry up. Suddenly, Jia Yan discovered the feeling of a twisted place, which was exactly the same as the twisted place where he first came to this world. Jia Yan was very fast and flew towards the twisted place. In the process, Jia Yan continued to break through his own speed while maintaining his physical fitness. If he could rush into the twisted place within 30 seconds, he would have to find a way to cause a big explosion in the twisted place, otherwise he would not be able to recreate the act of traveling to this world. He had no choice but to use the energy of his yin and yang body. As long as a section of his body is cut off, it can explode under Jia Yan's control. While Jia Yan was flying, he cut off a small piece of his hind foot without any hesitation. Although it is a small piece of Jia Yan, if people on Earth were here, they would find that this exoskeleton is at least 10 meters tall, which is equivalent to a small house. However, for Jia Yan, this is not a major loss, and in order to cause an energy explosion equivalent to that of those stars in the later period, at least this amount is needed. This small piece of material was released in front of Jia Yan's flying body. After Jia Yan managed to get into the twisted space, suddenly, a loud explosion exploded from behind him. With a bang, Jia Yan saw in front of him, in the twisted space, what seemed to be a huge creature, suddenly opening its bloody mouth. The last time he traveled through this twisted space, his mind was in a trance, so he didn't know about it at all. But this time, I actually saw the huge bloody mouth with my own eyes. This completely shocked Jia Yan. To him, this matter was as if it was unheard of, and he had no idea that such a shocking scene would happen. What creature? Jia Yan was almost horrified. He had never thought that there would be such a terrifying creature in the twisted place inside this space. With just one mouth, this creature is larger than the largest creature Jia Yan has ever seen, that is, the giant family. And this terrifying giant mouth, when opened, seems to be able to swallow an entire planet into its belly. Damn it, run away. Jia Yan was horrified and quickly stepped back. But it was too late. The giant beast's terrifying mouth swallowed Jia Yan directly into it in an instant. My life is lost. Jia Yan was almost on the verge of crying. How could he have imagined that in this twisted land, there would be a terrifying monster that was almost as big as the entire twisted land? Huh. Just when Jia Yan felt that something was wrong, he suddenly felt that the space around him was not in the body of some monster, but in another twisted turbulence. And this turbulence is a very scary feeling. If one moves accidentally, he will be swept aside by the turbulence, making it almost impossible to survive. What on earth is this? Jia Yan was silent. Now, he thought carefully about it, and the monster just now seemed to be a monster that did not look like flesh and blood, but something that became a living thing through another method. That's right, to him, it feels like the distorted land itself. Could it be that a monster was born in the distorted land in who knows how many years? So, could other twisted lands have something like this? Monsters exist. Jia Yan almost found his guess a bit unbelievable. After all, he has always accepted the concept that although biological diversity is good, it also needs to have a certain normal form. This monster in the twisted land was completely contrary to his subjective judgment. The world is really too big, but the appearance of this monster might explain a lot to me. That's the nature of this monster. It should be related to space. Here, it's like his body, and his body is connected to another space, that is, the Milky Way. Because it has a body-like structure, on the contrary, it's very stable. This time I came back, I almost didn't run away. Jia Yan felt excited when he thought of this. It turned out that there were many variables, but after knowing that this passage was actually the body of a monster, he no longer had so much fear. After all, if you understand the principle of many things, even if the principle is unbelievable, as long as you accept it, many concepts will change your thinking mode. Just like Jia Yan now, he was relieved after knowing that this terrifying monster in the Twisted Land was actually an existence that could connect to the subspace. In this passage, I don't know how long it will take. Finally, Jia Yan felt the space in front of him fluctuate. Buzz. The violent fluctuations made his whole body shake. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1533. Then, with his brainwave power, he felt that in front of the passage, a large and bloody mouth suddenly opened and closed. He quickly seized this opportunity and flew directly towards the bloody mouth. Then, the huge monster's mouth behind it, which was thousands of kilometers in size and could swallow almost half of the Earth, closed again. Back. Galaxy. Even the surrounding space is still the darkness of subspace. But Jia Yan has already felt the familiar meaning from the sense of space around him. This feeling is the unique feeling that can only be found in the subspace on this side of the Milky Way. Walk. Jia Yan didn't look much. After all, in this six-dimensional subspace, the things inside were almost the same as those in the previous six-dimensional subspace except for the meaning of oppression. My total process probably only took a few days. Of course, this depends on my sense of time, if it matches the real time. Jia Yan knew that in some movements exceeding the speed of light, the concept of time is completely different. This is like a person moving at the speed of light. In 1 second, tens of thousands or even hundreds of millions of years may have passed outside. The feeling is the same. He was afraid that this would happen. Considering the distance and speed he had just crossed, he didn't even know how to compare it to the speed of light. It must have been many times faster. If time were to be shortened, many years would pass by, and it would be uncertain whether we would meet our relatives on the Earth or even whether the Earth would still exist. So as soon as Jia Yan came back, he wanted to fly out to confirm. The great realm of gods. Everything was just like Jia Yan had just left not long ago. But in fact, several months have passed in this area. Master Jia Yan, will you come back? Lady Lily was also injured in yesterday's battle. What should we do next? In a sub-level space, several gods with stellar-level strength and several stellar-level experts from the outside were silently healing their wounds while conversing. They are just a group of Jia Yan's subordinates. This group of subordinates were brought from the Divine Star and fought side by side with Jia Yan in many places. To Jia Yan, they were considered good subordinates. The strength is sufficient and worthy of entrustment. Originally, Jia Yan was supposed to be with them and take them out of this great realm of gods. However, Jia Yan's own disappearance made these subordinates look like headless flies. It's just that they are all waiting for Jia Yan to appear again. This group of subordinates completely did not believe that Jia Yan would die just like that under the pursuit of the three great god emperors in this great realm of gods. After all, Jia Yan had led them in too many battles before, and even several times, it was a cross-level battle. Their greatest trust in Jia Yan's strength is Jia Yan's ability to cross levels of combat, coupled with his identity, he is the legendary, almost invincible evolved beast /. So these subordinates all thought that Jia Yan should not die so easily. But after so long, even several months, Master Jia Yan still has no news. This made them more confident in Jia Yan, but they still felt that the chance of Jia Yan's survival was not high. My strength has reached the first threshold of Yin and Yang Dao taught to me by Lord Jia Yan. The next path requires the guidance of Lord Jia Yan before I can go further, so I will stay here, even if Lord Jia Yan if there is any accident, I will always stay here. Anyway, even if I leave, I will no longer be able to make any progress when I enter the Yin and Yang Dao. Don't talk about you, we are not the same, That's why we all stay here. Now our second strength has almost reached the threshold of general level. Next, there are many places where we need help from Mr. Jiayan. A group of creatures still have a lot of questions about whether Jiayan has disappeared, because if Master Jiayan disappeared, or if the group of God Emperors had any definite news about the killing of Master Jiayan, why did they return to the outside world? After a while, a large army was sent to encircle and suppress these remnants. Logically speaking, existences like them that are not a threat, existences like the God Emperor, should be looked down upon. But they still came. Especially when he wounded them several times, he did not kill them all, but silently observed their escape route. It was as if he was waiting for something to appear. So this is the biggest reason why a group of subordinates think that Jiayan may still be alive. Our strength is all relatively deep in the yin and yang system. Even if we say it now, no one will believe that we are the strongest in the universe or the existence of the strong in the divine system. As long as we go out and use the yin and yang system to fight, the method will definitely be coveted by others. Therefore, even if we were seriously injured in our previous battle, we would not reveal another strength. Yes, this is what we have discussed, but if we don't use the second strength now, it is estimated that even if all of us are injured, there will be no way to wait for any conclusion. Why don't we just fight out, even if there will be no improvement in our future strength, but with our current strength, we might be able to fight a more powerful God King together, so why wait here to die? A star-level, powerful man, was the husband of that female scorpion-like divine creature. He looked lovingly at his wife's abdomen, because there were his and his wife's offspring there. He wanted to leave, but he actually wanted to protect his wife and their unborn child. What are you talking about? Mr. Jiayan treats us well, how could we just leave like this? Besides, I feel that Mr. Jiayan is not dead. His wife, the scorpion-like divine creature, spoke coldly at this time. He is actually more loyal than his husband. This is the case among divine beings. Their loyalty, or rather their minds, are more rigid. If they follow a master or an adult for a day, they will become more loyal. This does not mean that there will be no such things as betrayal, but it is just that compared to for cosmic creatures, the possibility of this situation is still much less. Well, the husband, a scorpion-like male star-level expert, was stunned for a moment and then lost his voice. He also knew the truth, but he really didn't want his children and wife to continue taking risks here. As a star-level powerhouse, the time he can survive in the universe will definitely not be short. After finally meeting the right person in these long days, he will definitely cherish it extremely. Unfortunately, now he is not strong enough to protect his wife and children. Let's see. If the master really doesn't come back, we will leave in half a month. I also feel that the team who tested us seems to be running out of patience. When they run out of patience, it must be the word death. Lawrence finally spoke. A group of creatures quite agree with Luo Longxi's words. After all, except for the star-level creature, the cowherd, other creatures are a little suspicious of the relationship between Luo Longxi and Jiayan. Of course, no one said it clearly. I have no objection either. Tian Nialang was actually a little injured, so he sat aside and didn't say much. As the person closest to Jiayan in Jiayan's team, he originally had the most say after the team lost Jiayan. However, in the last battle, he had a hard-on confrontation with a God King level being. After a single blow, he was seriously injured. The opponent did not kill them all, but used all means to escape back to the Aditha. Since then, he has become taciturn. Okay, everyone knows our situation, Tiani Alang, just work hard in the future. Even if Master Jiayan is not here, you must be responsible for leading us. You must know that except for Master Jiayan, you are the strongest now. Haha, how can I compare with Mr. Jiayan? The cowherd laughed miserably. No one laughed at him. After all, compared with Lord Jiayan, it was really like fireflies competing against the bright moon, which was simply impossible. That is an existence that can create the terrifying yin-yang system by one person. As for them, if they hadn't gotten a little benefit from practicing the yin-yang system when Master Jiayan made a breakthrough last time, they might not be able to do it now. Still haven't even started yet. It is really ridiculous to want to compare with other people's self-created system, but you can't even get started with it. Of course, no one took this joke seriously. By the way, what information do those god emperors want to find from us? It is said that he has been observing our battle and seems to be waiting for something. Haha, let me see, they might know that Lord Jiayan is not dead at all, otherwise why would they be so nervous about us little guys who are not even at the mid-level of a star? That's right. Could it be that Mr. Jiayan is really still alive? But it's useless. Mr. Jiayan is still alive and refuses to show up. Either he is seriously injured or the enemy is too powerful for him to come forward. In short, no matter which one it is, for us, all we can do now is wait. If Mr. Jiayan is really willing to show up, it will be our blessing. If he is unwilling to show up, then we can try in half a month. Let's try to break out. Several subordinates have discussed it. But in the subspace where they were hiding, a huge figure came quietly. The Edissa was obviously a little excited. Oh, leaving by surprise in half a month? I don't think you can do it. A sound that shocked all living creatures suddenly sounded in the outside world. Who? Get out of here. A group of beings from Jiayan's team, at this moment, were so frightened that the 7 souls were frightened and the 5 souls were almost completely pissed off. You must know that they are strong. For the strong, what they trust most is not their eyes, but their senses. With the strength of several star-level beings, within this range, even if there is any strong person coming, they should have the opportunity to detect it. But the appearance of this sound actually made them completely unaware. If the enemy wanted to attack them, they would probably be dead by now. What kind of existence is this person? Apart from beings with talents in the subspace, is there anyone else who can enter such a deep place in the subspace? This group of powerful creatures in this star field have no idea that in another starry sky, even if there are not many, there are still many powerful people with space talent. Now it is believed that there should be no such people in this great domain of gods. Other creatures can only enter the subspace. But when the subordinate creature who said this said such a sentence, he himself was stunned. The surrounding creatures were also stunned for a moment. Yes, in this space, aren't only creatures with subspace talents able to get so close to them? Master Jiayan is a creature with the talent of subspace, and even his subspace ability has reached the level of elusiveness. Moreover, what surprised them the most about the sound just now was that the feeling of the sound was very similar to Master Jiayan. Although Jiayan uses brainwave power to speak, the brainwave power of each creature actually has its own unique fluctuations. So when he speaks with the power of brainwaves, his voice is almost exactly the same unless he is deliberately pretending. So, this voice actually belongs to Lord Jiayan? Lord Jiayan. Be careful. It's possible that the enemy came to this space through some method and wants to kill us. Do not impulse. Several star-level experts wanted to break out of the Edisha at this moment to see if the creature coming from the outside world was their Lord Jiayan. No, I wonder if it's Master Jiayan. They quickly transmitted their brainwave power. Unfortunately, as soon as their energy was placed not far from the Edissa, they were blown away by an even more astonishing, yet outwardly expressed sense of power. It was a gentle force that easily blocked it. Even if several powerful creatures have released their brainwave detection power to the most powerful level, there is still no possibility of breakthrough. Several of the stronger stellar subordinates looked at each other, and then they stopped using their brainwave power. Since this terrifying creature came so suddenly but did not attack them, there was a real possibility that it was a friend rather than an enemy. Of course, the best possibility is that Lord Jia Yan and the others are happy. Let's go out and take a look. This group of creatures all knew that the coming one would not take the initiative to attack them. Even at this time, they knew that his strength was definitely stronger than any of the creatures present, so they accepted their fate. Even if this is an intruder, they will not sit back and wait. Let's go and see if it's Lord Jia Yan. If so, of course it's best. If not, let's fight to the death.